And yes, we talk about belly fat again because 73% of you guys said in a poll that I did recently that your weight was your biggest struggle. And worldwide, women in perimenopause and menopause report that belly fat is their biggest struggle. And so I wanted to address this issue again. I have made a video which I will link to in the description box below, but don't click off and go there. Stay here because I'm going to simplify all that information. That was 14 steps to do. And I promise you, if you do those 14 steps, you will see results. But of course, 14 steps sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. You don't have to do all 14, but that would be the most comprehensive guide to lose belly fat. If anyone is trying to sell you a weight loss pill, other than Ozempic and Wegovy, which is a whole separate video on its own, but any kind of weight loss pill or detox tea or diet tea or slimming tea or waist trainer thing to shrink your belly fat, all these things are gimmicks. Now, the waist trainer will train your tissue and will lift up your rib cage, and it will sort of train your muscles as well and all that to just sit in a certain position, but it's not going to reduce belly fat. You're not going to sweat off the fat in a certain area. That doesn't work. Spot reduction, which means reduction of fat in a certain area, is a myth. It's not possible. You cannot lose fat just in one area. How fat is lost is that it is lost all over, but you also lose the fat in your genetic way. That's how you also gain the fat in certain areas. It's your genetics. So you will see naturally some people are more apple-shaped, where they have a lot more fat around their middles, torsos. Those ladies tend to have bigger breasts, so they will be breasty and stomachy and fat on their back. I am a pear-shaped, so all my fat is in the lower half of my body. It is in my butt, my thighs, and my ankles, weirdly enough, and my knees. And so my fat is on my legs. I'm slim up here. And well, that's just how it is genetically. And so I don't have very big boobs. These are fake. And so I store my fat in my lower half. And so if I want to lose fat, yes, I may think that it's going from my face first. My arms are getting skinnier first, but it's not that they're getting skinnier first. It's that I can see it faster because there was less fat over this area. And so the muscle, the veins, the everything shows up quicker. It looks leaner faster because there's a smaller layer. On the areas of my body, like my butt and thighs, I see the definition last. So the fat is still going at the same rate. Maybe it's a mil all over, let's say. But I'll notice more muscle definition in my arms first. I won't notice it in my legs. I would have to get as lean can be to see any kind of definition in my legs. In fact, when I was this lean, I still did not see striations and definition in my legs. It's one of the things I would love to see, but I would have to take some form of steroid and change my body composition in order to do that, and I'm not willing to do that. So fat is lost sort of overall head to toe, and I know it's hard to grasp that for some people, especially if you're not used to being in the bodybuilding world or the fitness community. You just see people gain and lose weight, and it looks like they have areas where they gain and lose first or more, but that is not the truth. You gain based on your hormones and your genetics. Now, sure, your hormones can contribute to you storing more fat in your belly, and there are people with chronically elevated cortisol, but this is chronic cortisol elevation over years, and also people who are on cortisone. Now, cortisone is a cortisol mimicking hormone, and yes, they will pack on the pounds, but that doesn't change the way we lose fat, which is overall. And the most important thing when it comes to losing fat anywhere, midsection as well, and I've said it and I'll say it again, I will keep saying it in all my videos, calorie restriction. Said another way, calories in, calories out. And I know it is simple. It's not easy to do, but it is very simple. Losing belly fat is actually simple. It's not a complex thing, meaning you have to eat less than what you are expending in a day. This is the law of thermodynamics. This is like the basic law of weight loss. And belly fat is simply weight loss. You just want to see it in that area, but you will have to lose weight overall. Now, to lose belly fat, you do not need to do sit-ups, crunches, no waist trainers. You can't put a sweatband around there and try and sweat it out. Sweat is not fat, I'm sorry to say. Sweat is fine when you're exercising, that's great. And yes, you may be burning fat in that exercise session, but the sweat is not the fat. So you cannot sweat your fat off. You need to expend more energy in a day than what you're eating over a period of time. It must be consistent. You cannot just do it for 1 week and then go back to your old ways. In fact, when you go back to your old ways, you will pile the weight back on the same way you did before you lost the weight. And so weight loss, overall, ladies, people, weight loss needs to be something you do for a sustainable period, for life, if you want to maintain your results. And this is where a lot of people, I think, are misinformed. They think that they go on the diet to lose the weight and then they can just go back to normal and that the weight will stay off. Well, obviously it won't. And so when people say, I've tried all these diets and they didn't work, I know what they mean, but unfortunately, the thing is, you can't try a diet. You have to create a diet. And I prefer the word eating plan because diet has negative connotations, although diet is actually just what you're eating. But you have to create an eating plan, a way of eating that will support your weight loss goals that you can do forever and ever and ever. That is the way to lose weight sustainably and in the long term. And that is how you will lose belly fat. You need to get to the point where this fat is now reduced enough that you can see some lines, or you can see your waist again, or you can see your abs, whatever it is for you, whatever point that signifies you've lost the belly fat for you. And I'm not the one to sit here and tell you you need to lose weight. I don't care whether you lose weight or not. You are beautiful and valuable as you are, with the extra weight or not. But you guys are telling me that you do want to lose the weight. And you guys are saying it's the belly fat that bugs you, which means you have to get healthy overall in order to see belly fat reduction. And that is the only way at any age of our lives. And I've seen this myself when I've seen ladies in fitness competitions. I've competed in 4, I've gone to watch many more. I worked with coaches. I've been in the fitness world and dabbled in it for so long that I've seen ladies at age 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. There are even senior ladies who are competing and they are losing belly fat. Now, granted, they don't have the same muscle tone and the same level of definition. The skin is not the same. The skin quality is not the same at ages 50, 60, and 70 as when you are 20, 30, and 40. However, you can still lose belly fat. So sure, you will look somewhat more saggy, a little bit more wrinkly, but you can still get quite lean and you can still have very good muscle definition. And so your age, yes, it's a consideration, but it's not a major consideration. You can lose the fat. It takes the same work, the same required steps. It may be a little bit longer. The process may be somewhat more difficult. I'm not denying that it is, because as we age, our repair takes longer, all of our cellular processes slow down. And so naturally, every cell in our body is using up less energy. And that is why our metabolism seems to slow down. Our whole system is slowing down. But you still have to do the same things if you want to see fat loss results. And that is eat in a caloric deficit and do some form of exercise. And you don't have to do exercise to lose weight. But the older you get, the more beneficial it is to do the exercise, to lose the weight, the belly fat, the butt fat, the thigh fat, whatever fat you want to lose. You must do some exercise to offset that sort of slowing down as we age. Our cells, everything slows down. And I mean, you will know if you are over 40, you see, you do have a cut on your hand or anything, it takes longer to heal. Now that just gets worse and worse with age as the repair processes and the rebuilding processes slow down. And so a young person, I mean, their metabolism is fast. You just see it in young people, especially young teenage boys. They can eat pizzas and hamburgers and chips and cool drinks and ice creams, and they seem to gain nothing. Well, it makes sense. They are building bones and muscle and tissue and cartilage and brain cells. We are not. And so we do need to approach things not differently, but it does take a little bit more tweaking and a bit more harder work. We can't get away with cheat meals in the same way. I'm not saying you can never have a cheat meal over the age of 40, 50, or 60, but of course yours will be less frequent. You'd probably have to have a somewhat lower calorie budget overall, not by much though. It's not that you're going to starve yourself. You would work out like at any age. Work out your basal metabolic rate. You work out how many calories you can afford to burn in a day. You work out how much exercise you do roughly. There are many online calculators. Gym Geek is a good one. The fitness apps that you put your calories into on your phone. Those work it out for you. You put in your age, your sex, your height, your weight, your activity level, and it will tell you how many calories you need to be in a deficit for your weight loss goal. So there are many apps and online calculators available to help you work it out. But ladies, as a general rule of thumb, now this is a generalization. I'm not saying that this will apply to you. If you are taller, if you are more muscular, if you are more active, this could be more for you. If you are very petite, very small, very sedentary, you maybe need less, but you can sort of guess around 1,500, 1,400, 1,600, somewhere in that range for women would be a pretty decent weight loss, fat loss, calorie range for most ladies. Not all, but most. So I would say if you don't want to sit and go through an app or anything, just start with around 1,500 calories. My app tells me around 1,700, 1,600, depending on how active I put my activity level to. And I'm pretty active. I work out on average 5 days a week. And so 1,600, but don't forget, I'm quite short and petite. 1,600 calories for me, fairly active. It does work. If I follow sort of that calorie guideline, I do start to lose weight. When I don't, then I don't lose weight. And it is pretty sort of simple. And of course, I've touched on this in videos before, but protein is a very important macronutrient. It's very good to hit your protein goals. And I would say you want to aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And that is higher than the sort of average recommended protein amount, but aim for higher because we don't always hit that goal. There's no negative effects to going over your protein, like over what they recommend. In fact, in studies where they've shown people going up to 2 grams, even 3 grams per pound of body weight, there were no adverse effects. In fact, there was a little bit more weight loss. And in fact, fat loss was seen. Protein does have a muscle sparing effect, and that's what we want as we get older. And that is important for when we are losing or when we are hoping to lose belly fat, because of course you want to lose belly fat. You don't want to lose your muscle. Now, I would say the best way to lose belly fat, of course, is to stick to your calorie budget. Let's say for women, average 1,500 calories, somewhere thereabout. If you want to be super strict and bring it down, don't go below 1,200 unless you, like I say, are very small, very petite, very sedentary, but that you must work it out on an individual basis. I wouldn't want you to be starving yourself. Then you could risk losing your muscle. But again, if you are relatively active, you're getting in enough calories and you're hitting your protein goal, your muscle will be fine. And then you should see fat loss. And eventually, as you lose the fat, if this is your stubborn area, as we call it, there is no area that's stubborn. That is a fallacy, it is a myth. But I know what people mean. It's the last area that they see the results. Eventually, you will see your belly reduce. It's not easy, but it is simple. Calorie deficit, exercise makes a lot of sense. You should exercise because you're going to increase your calorie burn and it's good for your muscle tone. It really is. It's also good for your mental health. So there's another bonus. Then the last sort of factor I would include is sleep and also looking at the quality of your food. Now, quality of your food really counts more towards your health. But if you're trying to lose weight, why wouldn't you look at the quality of your food? Good food quality will prevent you from having sugar highs and sugar crashes. It will provide you with all the macro and micronutrients. It will provide you with the fiber. It's just better overall. You'll probably sleep better. You'll probably just feel better. You'll probably have more mental energy as well, sustained energy throughout the day. So make sure you're eating whole foods, hit your protein goal. Your protein should be lean sources of protein. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, of course, you would consider those protein sources. If you're gluten or lactose intolerant, exclude those foods. You want to include clean or whole food carb sources like sweet potato, rice, oats, barley, quinoa. The list can go on and on. Include as many vegetables as you can. If they are starchy, include those as a carb, not as a vegetable. If they are non-starchy, you can have, they're almost a free food. I mean, and it's going to be very difficult to overeat on spinach and broccoli and kale and asparagus and Brussels sprouts, so go for it. And then include 1 or 2 fruits a day. Tea and coffee if you want to, but make sure you're having a very little bit of milk. If you're having a cappuccino, that counts kind of as like a little snack. I mean, Milk is filling and it contains a lot of calories. Obviously, if you're opting for skim milk, it will be lower, but you've just got to factor all these things into play. I would strongly encourage you, if you want to lose belly fat and you are serious about it, track your food. Not that you have to. When I lost weight and got in shape for my first, second, and even third bikini competition, there were no food tracking apps. We just didn't know how to do it. I had to simply rely on what I was doing and then measuring my waist and then weighing myself to see results, to see if it was working. And the mirror, of course. Look in the mirror, look at your abs. You can see when they are showing. And so you don't need to track, but it is easier. It is so much easier when you track. You can see immediately when you've gone over. You can see immediately where you're going wrong. And it teaches you so much about food, what's in the food, how much fat is in that food, how many calories, and how calorie dense the food is. And what you think is a decent portion is probably a portion for 3 people. And then you realize, oh no, a single portion is actually a small, small amount. And so it just teaches you, it keeps you accountable. Don't use it to shame yourself. Don't use it as a guilt tool. And when you're on any weight loss or fat loss journey, you must decide what is right for you. This is your body. You own this body. So you get to decide how much body fat is okay for you. Don't let beauty standards and fitness influences influence your mind as to what you want to look like and how you feel best in your body. So you may want to lose belly fat, but if you feel like you're getting uncomfortable, you're starving, you're struggling mentally now because you are thinking about food all day, because you have not eaten enough calories for the day, please reassess and readjust. But belly fat, ladies, it can be lost. It is a simple process. It's not easy to do because of all the emotional factors and things that influence us and make us want to eat. We eat out of boredom. We eat when we're maybe angry. We eat for comfort. We eat for social events, and food is a pleasure. And I don't want to deny you that pleasure. So you need to decide when you are going to indulge and enjoy, and when you are going to pull back and stay on track, and you will hit your goals. It's just a matter of time. It's possible at any age and any stage. I believe in you. I know you can do it. It just takes a little bit of pre-planning, a bit of work, and of course, planning ahead, planning your meals, cooking at home, and doing your own grocery shopping. I will see you in the next video. Bye.